you're going to love this. Garbage. The mobile home park has about 63, 64 pads that are occupied. Garbage, when we bought it, was done with a relatively large dumpster that was picked up 6 days a week, costing them about $5,000 a month in garbage. Just imagine having a 60-unit apartment complex spending $5,000 a month in garbage. So we changed that the day of closing. That dumpster went bye-bye, and what got brought in was individual garbage cans, 64 individual garbage cans, one for each house, one for each property. Took the bill from over $5,000 a month to $750 a month. So we added about...
That is so huge.
Just like that. We added about $500,000 in value to the property the first day, just from making that change.
By a show of hands, how many of you make less than you think that you are worth? Why is that? It's time for you to put your foot down and say, enough. Luckily, you're here at the right time and the right place. The most wonderful real estate podcast ever is the path that you seek. I'm Bent-Twyford, and I have closed over 2,000 deals. I've been investing for over 30 years. I've seen all the markets, and I've done over $500 million worth of deals. I mean, think about that. $500 million worth of real estate. And I have a heart for you. I want you to walk my path with me. Your life is about to change. And do you know why? Because it's time to thrive in 25. Say it with me. It's time to thrive in 25. It's time to thrive to 25. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I am super excited to have you on today. I'm Bent-Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor, and I've got a great guest. I'm having one of my buddies on today, Neil, and I interviewed him a couple years ago, so we're doing a little catch up to see what he's doing and where he's at and what's happening. But in the Dwanderful world, if you are new, my podcast just reached 1 million downloads. And I can't tell you, I got the thing from Buzzsprout. I was like, oh my God, 1 million downloads. I was like, lost my mind for a minute. So if you like the show, you have fun today, we need some 5-star reviews. We need you to follow and subscribe and all the things so we can get to 2 million. And I'm really easy to find. I took Dwan and Wonderful, made a word, Dwanderful. So just go to DWANDERFUL, Dwanderful.com on all places, and that's where I'm at. So my buddy Neil, you and I talked like 3 years ago.
Probably somewhere in that range. Yeah. 2 to 3 years back.
Yeah. And I was like, so I told Neil earlier, everyone I interview on a podcast, I keep them all on my phone. And I thought, I never take the time to like catch back up with people. I'm always just interviewing new people. Like, but I have a lot of people I interviewed that I really loved, and I loved their story and I loved what they were doing. And like you and I mentioned earlier, like super had fun with them. I thought I'm going to invite some people back on that were just like super fun guests and see what they're doing and kind of update what's happening in your life. So
you've set a high bar, Dwan. Now I'm got to make sure I'm exciting and fun.
You are.
Not just for you, but for the audience. So thanks for having me.
I interviewed about 200 people. I told Neil to have them all on my phone under podcast and then their name. And so I scrolled through and I sent out 10 people that I really loved. And I was excited that all 10 people booked a spot back with me. So you're one of my top 10, baby.
Heck yeah. Give me a plaque.
That's it. I should. And I didn't even go back and look at like what people's topic was. I just was like, it's like they always say, people don't always remember you. They remember how you make them feel. And I thought, who did I like really just have such a good time with when I was like, oh, that was great. And you were one of those guys. So what were you doing back then? A couple years ago, what were you doing?
Back then, commercial real estate and also educating people on commercial real estate. Getting people into the commercial real estate space through education. So that's what I was doing back then.
So just real quick, I forgot. Just give everyone your socials, how to find you, like everything at the top of the show notes.
The best place to find me is going to be LinkedIn, Neil Timmins. Just go there and you got Neil Timmins, the Neil Timmins. Easy to find. The Neil Timmins.
Timmins.
And I'm in Iowa, and so it should be easy to find me. You got it.
That's right. That's right. So you were doing commercial, and see, it's hard to remember back because I didn't rewatch the podcast. Were
Yeah.
you teaching people how to buy it, or were you financing it?
Yep. At the time, I was teaching people how to buy commercial property. And it's just like Monopoly, right? The idea being, you trade these houses up and trade them in for hotels. The idea being it's just so much easier on the commercial side than it is on the residential side
Yeah.
because one deal could completely change your life.
No, I agree. I agree. You and I was on your show recently,
Yeah.
the investing in Iowa thing. And yeah, I mean, one commercial deal it can literally change everything in your life. So now you tell me the name of your new podcast.
The podcast, the Investing in Iowa show.
Okay, so
You know, yeah.
the
So
investing.
the Investing in Iowa show. I was talking to my right hand gal, and we had a podcast a few years back, and I think you and I connected on that one.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so fast forward, I was talking to my right hand gal, and we were talking about the show and kind of where we're going in our business and how the show supports our business. And she's going, like 99% of our business that we do from a residential and a commercial perspective is all in Iowa. She said, "Why don't we just focus on Iowa?" And I was like, "That's brilliant. Let's bring it home, both from what we buy and then our investors who
Yeah.
uh, who help support what we buy. It's largely Iowa based, and so that's what we did, and it's been extraordinarily well received. And the guests all have some sort of tie, some sort of impact, some sort of property connection to Iowa, and that's why
Yeah.
you and Bill both came on. It was fantastic. It was a great show.
I
It
know
just yeah.
we love that show because as you know, we do all of our investing in Iowa. We live
Right.
in Colorado, we have a house in Florida, but really the deals are in Iowa. So I always try to work with people and just say, listen, you don't have to invest in your backyard. The thing a lot of investors are like, oh no, I live in Texas. I have to buy stuff. I can see it and I can go there and I can be by it. I'm like,
Right.
no, but there's better deals in the Midwest.
I mean, better deals from a cash flow perspective. We never see the highs and we don't see the lows, right? It's just a nice, steady environment. And from a cash flow standpoint, it's been fantastic. And I always say, cash flow is king. It is how underwriting takes place. When you go borrow money from a bank, if you're in a spot where some of the California, for an example, there's like no cash flow, but there is appreciation, right? And it's been really strong appreciation for years and years and years,
Yeah.
just known as an appreciation market. Well, when I go borrow money from a bank on a commercial deal, all the banker wants to know is how they get paid back, and they get paid back through cash flow. They're
Hmm.
just underwriting the cash flow, not the appreciation. So that's why I say cash flow is king. It's got to be there to get the best loan that goes in place to be able to put a deal together.
Hmm. So are you focusing on buying these commercial properties for yourself? Are you helping your students? Or are you or trying to be the financing guy?
Yeah. So let's fast forward
Or is
to
that like
today.
yes to all and then
Yeah.
explain?
No. So let's fast forward. You asked. I love it. You asked me the question. What was he doing back then? Let's talk about what I'm doing today. Is that fair?
That's what I
There's
wanted to do. Yes, I want to
yeah.
transition because before, yeah, you were, and I was in so much agreement. I was like, oh, yeah, commercial and in
Yeah.
Iowa, because I was doing the same thing now. But I know your business has transitioned.
Yep.
And so let's talk about the Neil, which you just did. And I think what you're doing now seems like now that you just leveled up big time.
Yeah. Well, we do two things today in my world. We buy commercial property. So
Mhm.
yes, some deals I buy myself. Yes, some deals we bring in, we syndicate. So we bring other investors in. And so that has been very, very good, very strong. We got a deal last year we put together. I think we're going to go full cycle on it sometime this year. It's just going to be a freaking home run of a deal right here in the backyard in Des Moines. It has been very, very good. And then secondly, about 18 months ago, the commercial deals really started getting dry, really about 2.5 years ago. But last year, 2024, really a relatively quiet year for commercial opportunities here in
Mhm.
Iowa. And so I was sitting here thinking, what else can we do? How else can we employ some dollars and cents? My background, I grew out of the single family space, had been a broker, had
Yep.
brokered nearly 2,000 properties, fixed and flipped then, several hundred here in Iowa, and then dozens and dozens and dozens of rentals. So I'd always loan money to guys off and on over years who would fix and flip.
Mm-hmm.
And so about 18 months ago, maybe 20 months ago, um, I was like, you know what? Why don't we lend money to people around town who I don't yet know? And so we put together a little brand, Little Guy Loans, and we started, which is comical given that I'm almost 6.5 feet tall. And
I see this on Little Guy Loans. That's cute.
yeah, yeah. And started lending money in and around town to people who are fixing, flipping, or executing our burst strategy, and they just refinance us out. And it, again, extraordinarily well received. I had no idea there was going to be this level of demand for hard money loans. Right? That's what
Oh,
we do.
so much.
It took us a year, became the largest private lender in Des Moines. Again, very well received, and I think some of that has to do with, I mean, the rates and terms are competitive. They're in line with what you'd expect from a hard money standpoint. But past that, I strive real hard to add value to people past dollars and cents. I have been in their shoes. I have fixed and flipped hundreds of these things. So there are avenues which I think we can add value to an investor that go way past just lending them money. It's been so well received. We have grown so well here. We just added Kansas City, so that just launched here about 15 days ago.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Connected with somebody really well down there. We get along super well. So he's running a really our market manager there for meeting people and connecting and lending money down in that market.
So you are, so now I did not know that you were syndicating.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did. No, I don't think I knew that. So now talk about that because I personally love what syndications are, but I think a lot of just average people that buy rentals and this and that, they don't know or understand what a syndication is. So let's talk about like the deal you're getting ready to do. Like tell me about your syndication.
Yeah, I'll give you the deal. I'm going to give you two examples,
Okay.
one in real estate and one on lending side because they are distinctly different.
Okay.
So the one we did last year, we bought a mobile home park. So in Iowa, it's either you go wide. For example, you could buy apartments and buy them anywhere across the country. I chose to go deep in a market and wide asset wise. So we've bought mobile home parks, industrial, self storage. Retail, office, medical office. So I've got a whole multitude of assets, but in Iowa. So
Sure.
this was our second mobile home park that we bought. We bought it in the middle of last year, and it had some relatively, in my opinion, relatively low hanging fruit in terms of how we could go add value real quick to this property.
Okay.
And we've executed on that really, really well. And
Give us
so
a couple of examples.
the easiest, you're going to love this. Uh, Garbage. The mobile home park has about 63, 64 pads that are occupied. Garbage, when we bought it, was done with a 12 or 10, relatively large dumpster that was picked up 6 days a week, costing them about 55,000 to 5,500 a month. $5,000 a month in garbage. Just imagine having a 60-unit apartment complex spending $5,000 a month in garbage.
That's
This
crazy.
dumpster became the dumpster for all this people, along with whatever they did in their day job. So if they went out and were roofers, they brought all their roofing stuff back, right? When they tore off
I
shingles,
know
that
exactly
was
what
it.
you mean.
And then it was a dumpster for the whole neighborhood because the whole neighborhood knew that that place had a dumpster. So you can just throw all your crap in there and it just goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
So they were spending that kind of money a month. So we changed that the day of closing. That dumpster went bye-bye. And what got brought in was individual garbage cans, 64 individual garbage cans, one for each house, one for each property, each
Yep.
trailer. We took the bill from over $5,000 a month to $750 a month. So we added
That
about,
is so huge.
just like that, we added
And
about
it's
five,
better for you
yeah,
too.
correct. We added about $500,000 in value to the property the first day, just for making that change because the $4,200, $4,250 got dropped to the bottom line, nearly $50,000 in net profit dropped to the bottom line. And you cap that out of at a 10 cap, it's 500,000, but we're probably closer to a 7-ish cap. So, $600,000 plus got added to the value of the property.
But I mean, $5,000 a month for garbage is
Oh,
so much money.
it's bonkers.
We
It really is.
have, and so we're gonna be in Clinton for June, July, and August. You got to come over and spend a day with us
Yes,
in Clinton.
I would
But
love to.
one of our buildings, it has a dumpster. And so I started noticing, like, how is this dumpster like completely full, like all the time? So we put a camera that.
Yep.
So Bill's sister, she's sort of like takes care of, the cameras and making sure the bills and electric and heating. Like she does all the stuff to make sure all the different buildings have all the stuff. So she put these cameras up that you can talk through them. And so she'll see people putting trash in. She's like, "Hey, get away from that trash can. The police are on the way." And people are looking. She's like, "I see you looking up at me. Get away." And I'm telling you, within a month of her doing that, people stopped putting their stuff in our dumpsters because Lynn is like, she just watches the cameras all the time,
Yeah,
never sleeps. She gets up, she looks.
she's a
She's
dumpster
like,
Nazi.
get out of the dumpster. Yes. Oh my God. And I remember one poor guy, I was there. So they're on her phone. So she was with
Yep.
us in Iowa. She's like, oh my God, she got to beep that, And so we look out the window so I can see the dumpster. And she's at this guy, get out of the dumpster. I saw what you put. Take it back out right now. The guy's looking around. She's like, the police are on the way. And she made some sound like, whoa, like a siren sound. And I thought I was going to die. And I'm laughing and laughing. And this poor guy is pulling stuff out and throwing it back in his car. And I was like, Lynn, you are like the dumpster queen. So
Yeah.
she keeps an eye on those and just yells at people through the cameras. And they don't think they can see the cameras. And I'm like, girl,
Yeah,
it's
that's
so funny.
yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, so that for us was the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest way to add value to that park.
I trust that you are loving the podcast. Hey, do you really want to become a super kick-ass superstar real estate investor? Really? 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 All right, why don't you spend the next minute and just take my real estate investing quiz. Super fast, super quick. It'll let you know where you stand on your journey. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to dwanderful.com. And back to the show.
Let me go back to your question.
Now, was that something that you had done before? Or is it something like, hey, let's try this and see what happens?
No, we have done it before in a couple of places, never to that extent where it was that big a margin. But yeah, one of the line items that we do as we go through a process when we acquire a property is review all vendor contracts.
Yeah.
And then, if we can improve either through renegotiation or, changing vendors, that's what we do. So there's some very easy ways. That's the most extreme one we've ever been involved in.
Yeah, but that's like
it's
such
so
a
wild.
good tip for anyone
Well, you think,
buying
yeah.
in Oklahoma or anything like that. Like that's,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would have thought about that. That's a great tip.
You think about this. We added over $600,000 in value to that park. Just like that, we paid $1.2 million for the place.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
so from an ROI standpoint, huge. So let me go back to your question.
Yeah.
Tell me about syndication.
Yes.
We got off to the underlying asset of syndication. Syndication, the best way to say it is it's a group of people coming together to buy a property. And so you have general partners, in this case, myself, my team, and then limited partners, people who write checks to participate in that type of an investment.
Mhm.
And so there's always a business plan. In this case, it was, hey, we're going to reposition this park. It's just a value add park. We're going to churn it and then we're going to burn it. This thing is going to get sold out. And then obviously we're going to reap the rewards. The idea being that we should be north of 20% a year in annual returns. So,
Yeah.
if we land it in 1 year or 2 years, it's 20 or 40%. Somewhere in that range was what we projected. And we're right on track to do exactly just that based on where we're at and the other pieces of the puzzle that we put together. So it's so somebody can participate in commercial real estate or whatever the syndication may be. And I'll tell you about the lending stuff in just a minute. But so somebody can
What's
participate.
the buy-in?
Buy-in varies. Typically on that one was $50,000. So typically you're seeing buy-ins from 50,000 or 100,000.
I think 50 is it's common, they've lowered it down.
Sure. Yeah.
Do
And
they
then,
have to be,
depends on accredited is the word you're
Yes.
looking for. Yeah. It depends on that deal. I don't remember off the top of my head if they had to be accredited or not. Since it was about a year ago, but I'll tell you about the lending one in just a minute. So, every deal is a little different. Some have income with them, meaning you're going to get quarterly distributions, quarterly returns. Others, there is no income. We did one a couple of years ago, where it was a industrial property, 100% vacant, and therefore it requires filling that thing up before there's ever income. So
Yes.
in that scenario, we tell everybody, hey, it's going to be a couple of years, 1 to 2 years before we start writing checks because we're not in a position to do that. It's a complete reposition of the property and then eventually a sale to be able to capture our biggest gain. But let me talk to you about the lending side. We just launched our syndication for the little guy loan business to help support the growth that we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And the benefit of that is it's all income, meaning we don't own a property. What investors in our syndication for our loan business, we own loans, right? We're originating loans who have, we're in first position on every property that we lend money on, just like a bank. And these folks pay us, right? They pay us back in interest and fees. And so in that syndication, people are getting double-digit returns. They're getting interest paid out to them, profits paid out to them on a quarterly basis, or they can reinvest their return. They can come back in on a quarterly basis, reinvest their returns, and get that compounding option over a period of time.
So I think that's amazing. So like someone like me, I could have the option to say, hey, I want to come in and purchase and be part of this building. Or, you know what, I just want to throw some money so I can get some money back.
Yeah,
So
exactly
people
right.
can do both. And
People can do either one.
People do both.
Some people do both. Yeah, 100% some people do both. It just depends on what your goals are, what your return habits are, and when you need the money. For example, on every property we buy on the syndication side, every property is different. Sometimes it's 1 to 2 years. We did one a couple of years back. We went out to everybody and said, hey, we got a 10-year tenant. They've signed a 10-year lease on this thing. This is set and forget it. We're going to be in the 5 to 7 year range before this thing gets sold. So if you need your money back before then, this is not the investment for you.
Yeah.
Our lending side of one is much better because we can get liquidity for somebody inside of 6 to 12 months. If you need your money back in a relatively short period of time or want to have the option to do that, that's a much better spot.
Yeah, no, I love both. And I think I remember when I first started my podcast and I interviewed my first few people that did syndication. And after having been in the business for 25 years, I was like, you know what? I know nothing about syndication. I don't know why. It's never, when I was working in South Florida, I don't even know. And then I started learning more. It's like, wow, this is like a really amazing, because there's just so many people, especially like in their 60s, 70s, 80s, they're just sitting on so much money.
So much cash.
They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with it. And you take it to the bank and, you can still get in the 4s today in the bank on a CD, but who knows where that's going to go? Right. Yeah. And that's why I love the lending piece, because we are giving investors double-digit returns.
Yes.
And so the ability for them, especially if they need income or want income or have an IRA, what a terrific spot to be able to get, some very healthy returns. And I'm in it in a very large way to make sure this thing works. To date, Dwan, we've lent over $10 million here in Iowa.
Wow,
Over $10 million here. I'm going to give you this. We've had 0 defaults, not one late payment, not one person missing our payoff and our terms.
I don't know. I don't think I'm worthy to be talking to you.
No, it's been a fantastic business.
You know what that number is, though, to have lent out $10 million with 0 defaults? Like, that doesn't happen.
Well, we underwrite, for us, we don't have to say yes to every deal.
Yes.
It's okay to say no. It's okay. The goal for us and for our investors, the goal is to make money, not to do deals. And so we focus very heavily on underwriting the person, the individual, right? What's their character, right? Credit scores are obviously a good one, but what's their character? What's their experience? What's their history? And then we underwrite the property secondly, because if I don't have the right person, the property's not going to matter.
No, I'm with you on that. So your guys now are you buying some of these commercial buildings and like just keeping them for yourself?
Yes, on occasion. I'm trying to think. It's been 2 years. It's been
syndicating, turning them over, getting the money, lending the money. But
it's been
really anything where like I'm just going to buy all these and keep all these for myself.
If I do, it's on the smaller side to where syndication, because there's real costs associated with the syndication.
Yeah.
to where it just isn't going to make sense to be able to go do it. So if there's a smaller building, I bought one a few years ago. It was like $450,000. It just the cost to syndicate that just do not align.
Yeah, they're online. No, no, no.
Yeah.
So what's your average price range of a building?
On the commercial side, well, good question. Let me think here off the top of
Like
my
to
head.
make it worth your while and to do all your stuff. I mean, you're
Yeah,
looking at five
yeah,
hundred
no,
thousand. Are you looking at
no.
like everything's over a million?
Yeah, everything's over a million on our syndication side, a million to 2 million on average. We've crossed the $4 million mark a couple years ago on a property, but about 2 million on average.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So okay, so I'm gonna change topics. I want to talk about you.
Yeah.
Tell me your favorite band of all time.
Oh, you asked me this last time. I was
I
prepared.
know.
I was not prepared last time, and so I gave you my favorite band of all time as I was growing up. I remember being in the car listening to the tunes with mom and dad. I'm going to give you a new one this time because I listened to these guys growing up, and now my youngest son, who's 15, loves their music, which is Queen.
I love Queen too.
Love Queen. My son is into it. He'll put it on. He'll go work out to it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
It is. You know, it's funny. I started asking that question a couple of years ago, and I've been podcasting for five. So with the people, I'm like, I don't know if they were in when I started asking those questions or
Yeah,
if it was like pre that.
yeah,
And so I'm just like, I'm just asking everybody again. But, you know, I've got four grandkids. They're 3, 5, 9, and 10. They
okay.
love Queen. They're like, yeah, all the
Yeah,
time. And they're
yeah,
learning the piano and the drums, and they love Queen. I always said my favorite band was Styx, but I feel like my favorite band is Queen right now. I'm so into it
yeah.
with my grandkids. It's like, God, Freddie Mercury was just brilliant.
Just incredible. Yeah,
Incredible,
yeah,
incredible. Yeah, so I didn't know because I interviewed someone earlier and I had not asked, and she's like, "Oh, that's a really good question." I was like, "Okay, that was pre, but I don't know where the line was when I started
yeah,
asking that." But I don't know. I always am of the mindset that people work with people that they like,
for sure.
and you know, we all talk business, 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 but it's like I like to know like what people do and what they eat, where do they go, and like
Yeah,
what are they about? Because like I told you earlier, when I was going through my phone to re-interview some
yeah,
people, I didn't remember the specific interview as much as at the end of the interview, I thought, oh, what a great person. That was so much fun that it
yeah,
stuck with me long enough to like scroll through and pick out my faves.
yeah. That's
And
so cool.
so I probably didn't ask you what was your favorite food.
That you may have, but I don't recall off the top of my head if you did or not. I'll tell you what, this is like it's my favorite and it's also dangerous. So my team knows that Neil can only go so many times because he's gonna be in a food coma when I leave. Of course, it's Mexican. They're
Wow.
like, I'll tell you what, there's something that they do that one can take away in life. They lead with value. The first thing you get when you go into a Mexican restaurant is chips and salsa,
Right
right?
away.
They lead with value. I'm like, it's incredible. There's something to take away from that about, uh, it's like there's a giving mindset. Yeah.
I like the margaritas.
Yeah.
Now I know I did not ask you this question because this is a new question. What's your favorite time of day? Like from when all of your day, where is your space where you're like, oh, this is my happy time of day. This is my part of where makes it all worth it. What's your favorite part of your day? Or your
Interesting.
favorite time of day?
Yeah, probably 7 a.m. at the gym.
Yeah, okay, good. So you
Yeah.
are a morning person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've interviewed one guy. He goes, I go to the gym every day at 4 a.m. And I was like, but why? 4 a.m.
Wow.
Like, seriously? And he's like, you know, and I didn't mean for it to come out that way. So I think he was like, felt a little bit defensive. I mean, no, but seriously, 4 a.m., like, you have to go to bed at like noon
Yeah, that
to
I'm
get
thinking
up. Like,
4
what
a.m.
time do you
sounds
go to
cool because
bed?
nobody's there. But yeah, that's what I'm wondering is how do you balance that work at the same
Why?
time?
And if you go to the gym at 4 and then you do all your stuff by noon, you're exhausted.
I would think yes, I would think that was real tough.
All right, so over here at the Dwanderful family, what can we do to help you reach your next big goal?
Wow, that's a great question. What can you do? This conversation and is fantastic, allowing a platform for us to have a conversation, share people with what it is that I do. Um, if it resonates with somebody, just which really means if it sounds like something that's interesting, worth us getting connected, having a conversation, I would certainly welcome that. Or if the wait, or plug into the podcast, the Investing in Iowa show. Um, that has been fantastic. We've had everything from people who fixed and flipped, 4 or 5 houses in their life, and they've found some early success, but really just getting going, all the way up to a couple of developers who have developed hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in commercial real estate. We've had everything in between. And so it has been extreme. I mean, when I go out to events in the intra industry, it's, I get a lot of positive feedback because we're just bringing people together. Who love Iowa, who are in real estate, and who invest in Iowa.
All right, yeah. So I'm, I like to ask that question next. I'm like, I have a little bit of a podcast presence now. You're certainly not the biggest in the world, but a lot of people listen. So I'm always like, what can we do to help you grow your business? Because everyone I interview is in some kind of business that I approve of.
Sure.
I think people should do syndication. I agree with people that just want to buy, rehabs, or they want a storage, or they want mobile, whatever they want. I'm like, listen, I believe in all of it. So someone that's listening and you don't know who Neil is, then find him on LinkedIn, like you said, Neil Timmins, the Neil Timmins. And then, of course, the Investing Iowa, it's called the Investing Iowa Show.
Yes.
And if you're like, hey, I'm sitting on money, I don't know what to do with it, or I want to be a part of things, and you don't know where to start, this is your guy right here. When you get into syndications and you work with people like Neil, you're not learning by the seat of your pants. You're not trying to figure out how to rehab or how to flip or how to do. You're not figuring all that stuff out. Someone's already done it, and you're benefiting from their knowledge.
It's a shortcut. I always tell everybody, people should invest in real estate, should invest in the private credit market, which is really what our debt stuff is. But if you're successful at what you do, doctor, lawyer, I'm just naming a couple of things, nurse, it doesn't matter what it is. Don't quit your day job. You're great at that. Do that.
Yeah.
And just invest in another area. Those who invest in the stock market, none of us quit our day job to go invest in the stock market, right? So you don't need to give up what you do and what you love, just to invest.
Yeah. I like the fact that people can, like with your specific because I know you and I know what you do. And I like your specific syndication because there are a lot of you out there, like, you said, doctors, lawyers, or whatever. There's people who are sitting on money, like, oh, I'd like to have a little fixer upper, but they don't know what they're doing. So, like, you know what? Put some money into something and let someone else run it for you.
Yeah. No,
It makes really good sense. And your chances of failure are basically zero.
It shortcuts everything, right? Yeah, to go do it yourself. I mean, you remember those first days of doing this, Dwan, and the learnings that you had to take early on in one's career. Yep.
My learning curve was so long, so long. Okay, so I'm going to ask one more question out of you. And I want you to leave us with a word of wisdom, but just one single word, a word.
Thankful.
Gonna hang on before you say. Okay, so everyone that listens to me regularly, we take the word thankful, we put it on a little sticky, and we put it up on our mirror. And that is the word of the week in the Dwanderful world is thankful. So what does thankful mean to you?
The easiest way to get grounded, and no matter what stress you have going on in your world, is just simply to reflect on something that you can be thankful for in your life. And the stress can simply just evaporate.
I love it. All right, guys. So that's what thankful is to Neil. So that's how we're going to approach the word thankful this week. And I always like to know people when they say their word, like what it means to them, like what it means to you may not be the same as it means to me or somebody else. So we take what your meaning is, and that's what we focus on this week. So you'll have all kinds of people focusing on thankful about Neil Timmins.
Wonderful.
All right.
Well, hey, with that, I'm thankful for you having me on here, Dwan. So I
I'm
appreciate it.
thankful for you coming on and spending time with me. I'm so excited to come to Iowa and hook up with you this year, show
Yep.
you what we're doing in our little town over there. It's so much fun going over there. So, folks, remember, if you love the show, learned something, had fun, leave a 5-star review, subscribe, follow, share, all of the things. And we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And remember that the truth is in the red letters. All right, thank you, Mr. Neum. You're awesome. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. I am so glad that you stuck around. I almost forgot to tell you. In addition to having this amazing educational podcast, I'm now able to work with you one-on-one. Yes, one-on-one, you and me working together, and have a 3-deal guarantee. 3-deal guarantee that you'll close 3 deals. So you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. Take the quiz. Go to Dwanderful.com. Take the real estate investing quiz. See you on the other side.